for Stacey Gustafson.
You guys look like you're doing really great tonight, right?
Yeah.
Right? Me, not so much. Right before I came out here, I threw up just a little bitty bit. Come up to the stage.
Would you mind taking us back to the table?
So anyway, my name's Stacey Gustafson, and I live in the East Bay. And I recently had a big birthday. I turned 5-0. But I know what you're thinking. She looks like she's 20. And that's how Common Core math works. So I bought a new car, and it's the type of car that you don't even have to put the key in the ignition. Who thought of that? Did some guy one day go, "You mean you have to take the keys out of here and put them all the way over there? Ugh, I'd rather not drive." So we drove my new car to see my family this holiday. How many people went to see family? Raise your hand. That can be pretty painful. So when I got to my mom's house, she rushes me at the door and she says, "You look sick. I've got some meds for that." And she goes rummaging around in the kitchen and she pulls out that one drawer that moms have of 50 bottles of expired medication. And she takes out one jar and she pops a pill in my mouth. But then she says, "Oh no." And I said, "What did you give me?" And she said, "We'll know in about 4 hours. You'll either have constipation or explosive diarrhea. I've got some meds for that too." So then I am imagining that my husband is a lot like your husband, and he doesn't remember anybody's name. So we're at my family's house, and my cousin comes over, and she knocks on the door, and my husband rushes to answer it. And he pulls the door open, and he says, "Hey, you. Come on in. How's the big guy and the little one?" And afterwards I said to him, "You don't remember my cousin's name, do you?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Say it." He said, "Cindy, Sally, Susie." I said, "No, her name is Elizabeth." Now how is it you can't remember any of my relatives' names? But the guy that owns the Indian restaurant, you know him. He says, "Well, maybe that's because Cindy, Sally, Susie makes me tandoori chicken." Does your family give you out all kinds of weird advice all the time? My dad calls and he says, "Hey, did you watch that 60-minute special? Don't eat processed meat." "No baloney, I mean it." And then my mother, she's always sending me newspaper clippings. This time, in really bold font, was this article, and it said, "Hospital amputates man's wrong leg." And on the side, she writes in big marker, "Don't go there." And then recently, she sent me a hammer. A little itty-bitty, teeny-tiny 4-inch hammer. And she calls and she said, "Did you get that hammer?" I said, "Why did you send me that hammer?" She goes, "Well, you never know if you're driving in your car and you wreck and you fall into the ocean, you'll need the hammer to break your way out." And you know you don't have any car keys. And then my parents, you can never get off the phone with them. They always end it with, and one more thing. It never is anything important. It has nothing to do with the story. They always say, one more thing. So I'm talking to my dad on the phone, and I said, Dad, I really gotta get off the phone. I'm making dinner here. And he says, wait, one more thing. I bought a bag of avocados today. And then I'm talking to my mom, and she does the same exact thing. I'm talking to her, she's yammering on, and she says to me, one more thing, I'm going to bingo tomorrow with a friend. Doesn't even matter. And then they say the most nonsense things like, one more thing, did you know McDonald's makes really good coffee? I'm looking for that teeny tiny hammer to hit myself on the head with to get out of this conversation. I don't think I mentioned to you, I have 2 kids. They are 7 and 10. No, wait a minute. No, 12 and 14. Dang it! 18 and 21. They're 18 and 21. And when they were little, we got that gateway pet, the hamster. And for a few months, they played with the hamster, sort of. And then the hamster grew a disgusting little tumor. So before too long, the hamster is living in the laundry room, sort of like our own hamster hospice. And like Grandpa in the nursing room, no one wanted to visit the hamster anymore. So it was time, and I called my whole family into the living room, and I said, hey guys, we have to talk about the hamster situation. And my son says, we still have a hamster? So I take the hamster to the vet, and the vet says, hey lady, you're in luck. We can save the hamster for $300. I said, I'm gonna have to call my husband on this one. So I call my husband at work and explain the problem, and he says, how much for a new hamster? I said, $5. So pretty soon we have 60 hamsters living in our laundry room in their own converted apartment complex. Things have really changed from when we were little, when we were young kids. Do you remember when the doorbell used to ring and your whole family would rush to get it? You'd pick up the dog and grab a sister or a brother. Everybody was excited. Mom would cut up some pound cake, start pouring some drinks. You'd open the door and you pull them into your house. But now, when the doorbell rings, it's like a SWAT team tactical maneuver. I start issuing orders to everybody around me. Hey, you, go upstairs, look out the window and see who it is. You, grab the bag. You, put the phone on speed dial, 911. And then my husband army crawls real slow to the front door and he pulls it open real slowly. The pizza guy has never had it hit him like that before. I was raised in the Midwest and I could handle pretty much any type of weather. Tornadoes, no problem. Severe weather, hail, not a big deal. I was not prepared to handle earthquakes. So when I moved to California, we realized we had that crazy guy on the street. He's ready for any disaster and he wants to talk to you about it. So this guy comes up to us, we're on the street, and he says, hey, what is your earthquake plan? He said, I've buried a 10,000-gallon drum of water in the backyard, and all 8 of my kids have a backpack hanging up on a hook in the garage with a 5-day supply of rations. So what's your plan? I said, me? I don't have to have a plan. All I need to do is keep your address in my pocket. And one more thing, I'm Stacey Gustafson, And I wrote a book. I'm going to sell them afterwards. It's called Are You Kidding Me? I have a blog. Look up StaceyGustafson.com. And I'd like to give this book to the fellow who grabbed my vomit. Thanks a lot. That's my time.
All right, y'all, keep it going for Stacey Gustafson.
She's like that, just letting it all hang out. She's a brick house. I like Lady Stack, that's a fact. Ain't holding nothing back. Oh, she's a brick house. Well, look together, everybody knows this is how the story goes. She knows she's got everything.